fragile.
Hey, family.
He is.
Everybody's here.
Brian's back. Woohoo!
You missed me? Right here? Want a little closer look?
Oh, wow. That's a lot, Brian.
What? People missed me?
We missed you,
Yeah.
and we're so happy to have Dave here for this conversation. Because I trust Dave's perspective more than Brian.
Whoa. I'm talking about marriage?
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
About men's ego.
Wait, Dave
men's
Szafranski.
ego, no?
Dave Szafranski?
No, because deep inside, he's honest.
He talks tough, right? But he's just a big
sensitive.
teddy bear.
I'm a
He's
sensitive guy.
So the question that came up with Dr. Julie, well, for us, was, are men's ego really fragile? Or what? What's the question, Ryan?
Oh, okay,
No,
so
we got into...
Last week was she said what women need from their husbands,
Yes.
and she said this crazy. She goes, women are simple. And Ron and I were like,
Of course, women.
we're talking about human women? Or
Yes.
and then she made some good points, blah, blah, blah. So finally we got to this week, what a husband needs from his wife.
Right.
And I was listening. Were you listening? Taking notes?
I was listening. I noticed that the list was longer with men than with women.
Yeah.
I love that.
50% longer.
We're not as
Notice the
complicated.
list was made by a woman. So of course,
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
you know.
Did you have a good meatloaf in there? Because we definitely need that.
Honest, do you like meatloaf?
I love meatloaf.
Meatloaf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would
There's
love to
something about
know,
a good meatloaf.
maybe there's something else another guy would add to the list? Or...
Well, we got to refresh what it was.
Yes.
Dave's reaction. What a husband needs from his wife. Number one, respect, because he has a sensitive ego.
How does that sound? Does that make you guys sound weak?
Well,
Or do you agree with that?
look, I think that in a marriage, when a husband is respected by his wife, it's because he's earned that respect. And so you earn respect through making wise decisions that are based on the betterment of your family and not selfish decisions.
Yeah.
And we're all selfish people, so we can all make selfish decisions. But when I say, look, I can't do that because I'm committed to this, then I think you start to earn that respect from your wife. And she knows that she can trust you to make decisions that are wise for the family, not just
Yeah.
wise for yourself. And so that respect is earned over time, and it will take some time to earn it.
That's very serious of you.
Yeah.
But you can't expect somebody just to walk in and say, I respect you because you're the husband. You gotta earn that. It's everything, all that stuff has gotta be earned. Now, when I was in the military, you respected somebody because of their rank. You didn't necessarily respect that person, you respected their rank because you had to. That's the way it is. But in a marriage, it's not that way. So you have to earn that respect. It'll take a little bit of time.
So now, I want to test our theory with Dave about this. It's related. That in a marriage, if you're going to do the cliff notes, she's got 3 points because it's a husband needs his wife to respect her, he needs her help, and sex. Okay, those 3 things. For us, it's all a guy wants is for his wife to be happy. Like, if I'm going to do the cliff notes, it's just we want you to be happy. That's all we want. Like we don't want you to be worried about this or upset about that or frustrated about this. Just what do we need to do so that you're happy?
I think that's a horrible theory.
Really?
No.
Yeah, that's a horrible theory.
Oh!
You just told Ron his theory's horrible.
Yeah, look, if I'm upset, I want you to be upset with me. We're going to fight this battle together. We're in this together. And so I'm not going to be upset alone. If I'm suffering, we're all suffering together because we're going to solve this problem. And so I do want my wife to be happy. Of course I do.
Yeah.
I want people to be happy.
Haven't you heard? Happy wife, happy life?
I have heard that. But at the same time, I think we're a team. I've always thought of my marriage as a team, right? So we're going to fight on a unified front. We're going to address things together. We're going to pray about things together. We're going to pray for people together. And we're going to struggle together. And sometimes, as you know, marriage could be quite a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an easy thing. I've been married now for 27 years.
Which is a miracle in and of itself.
To the same woman, too. So when people ask me, how's it been? I say, about 25, been great. Because there's been some rough times, usually because of things that I've done. You know, we're human.
Yeah.
That happens, but we're going to struggle together. But we're going to be happy together, and we're going to struggle together.
But all things being equal, you just want her to be happy.
Yeah,
That's where
it would be
where
better.
your joy comes from. Just making if she says, "Yeah, I'm happy, I'm pleased." That's you're all set.
Like if you can take Levon on a nice trip, and you can tell that Levon is just like, okay, this is good. You're like, that's what I needed right there. I'm happy. Or you're like, excuse me, I'm not happy over here.
No, that would be selfish.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice to see somebody be fulfilled, for sure. It's nice to see somebody get the things that they desire out of life, as long as it's in balance.
Mhm.
And so we're gonna go to the Amazon soon, right? And I'm gonna watch my wife minister to the ladies and these kids of this village, and I'm gonna see her in her element. And that makes me really happy.
There you go. Yeah.
Even though we're gonna be hot and sweaty and dirty, and it's gonna be, there's gonna be some mosquitoes in the Amazon. I've heard there's bugs there. I read that once. Bugs and spiders. That makes me really happy. When we're walking out those things that are super fulfilling to us, and we know that we're in the right place, it makes me happy.
Good
So-
morning, Lillian. Thank you for sharing. She says men want respect and women want love from their husbands.
And shoes.
But the way I would interpret what you just said essentially is, wow, Ron and Brian, you sure are right.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that
I couldn't have said it better.
okay? I figured that.
Thanks for clarifying for me.
Wow.
Do you think that Dr. Slattery's right that men have sensitive egos? Like, so she described it in that they could go out and conquer the world, but come home and if like their wife is upset or there's something wrong, it's just like they feel like a failure.
I think if your home life is a toxic environment, it could be troubling. Yes, and I remember when I was a kid, I had a paper route. I was an entrepreneur very young. And in fact, the first thing I did
Wait a
when I got a
minute.
paper route is I raised everybody's prices. I'm like, oh, I can't make it on this. Everybody's prices are going up. And there was this one particular house on my paper route where there was a wife who was, a family who was in turmoil constantly. And I remember walking by one time and the guy was just sitting on his front porch with his hands in his head. And I think eventually that happens to people in general, not just guys, but when they feel defeated on a constant basis, it's really tough to go out and want to conquer the world because you can't even conquer, what's going on in your own house.
Right.
And so I think that's why it's so important to have mentors early in marriage, especially for Christians, because I had a misconception when I got married that, we're Christians, everything's going to be fine. This is Christian marriage, it's easy.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. You face the same problems that everybody else faces. And so if you're a young woman and you're doing things that are destructive in your house, and you have somebody that can look at you and say, this is destructive, I think that's really good because somebody can get in the way of our own bad actions. And the same thing for a guy. I think one of the big mistakes that men make today is we still think that we live on an island and we're gonna do everything ourselves.
Yeah.
But why should you learn from your own problems when you can learn from other people who have made those same mistakes, right? And
Right.
doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes or kind of get into trouble for your mistakes, but it sure is going to help when you have somebody who's got experience and perspective to kind of walk you through some of those things. So if you're in a toxic environment, it can be destructive.
That's what I love about having Dr. Julie say it, because a lot of times in our marriage, in the 20 years we've been married, it usually takes like another man speaking to Len, or in my case, a woman that's further along in marriage, to kind of call me out. You receive it differently, whether it's because they've made the same mistake or with her wisdom, I receive it differently. Like when it's from a man's perspective, like my husband, it's easy to say, well, you don't understand, you looking at things from your perspective. But when you have a woman that says, no, I've been a wife, I get where you're coming from, but you're still wrong. So I'm just calling out the women to kind of realize we got the men here, but Julie was the one that pointed it out, that we need to be more encouraging.
So help the ladies. How can they respect their husbands?
I think validating their efforts and their perspective. like in our case, the way Len approaches my boys is way different than the way I approach them. And I have to, like, a lot of times he points out and says, listen, I was a little boy and I know what it takes to be a man. You got to trust me. So going there first and trusting them. And I loved what she said about being a helpmate, but being mindful of how you're coming across, because being a helpmate, our delivery can come across as nagging or discouraging.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Women can be nagging? I don't know.
I
about
I've
know.
never heard of such a thing.
I know.
Never in my house.
Right.
Sarah, I don't think she's ever done that.
Never. Yeah.
But I heard it happens to some guys.
And it's hard because I think just like a man, when you're strong in the area, just like Dr. Julie said, we kind of figure out the nurturing a little bit more. It's hard to be strong in the area and not to want to put your hands in it and be like, wait, hold up. You know, so it's humility. It's even giving him time to learn. We have a learning curve. Even just kind of giving grace and saying, you're figuring it out, and yeah.
See, we had somebody call in who said that they had the opposite issue in their marriage, where when they were first married, the husband had a clipboard and gave her a list of things to do that day.
Very efficient.
Very efficient.
It's like military.
But most people's response was, whoa, what was he thinking?
Yeah.
So why are we so comfortable with the opposite?
With the man doing
Do you think somebody would have been shocked if a wife left a list for her husband for things to
Yeah.
do?
Right.
Would anybody be like, really? A list?
Oh,
He's supposed
you're
to
saying-
take out the,
oh,
take
I
out the
see.
trash and
Yeah.
Like a honey-do list.
yeah.
There's a name for that.
Yeah,
Honey-do
right.
list.
So
We all get it.
not that it shouldn't be like that. I'm just saying. So why is it shocking that he left her a list of things to do? But it's perfectly fine for a wife to leave a list of things that she needs her husband to get to do.
And
when he
now
gets home.
let's clarify. It
Oh,
wasn't
here we
a
go.
list.
Here we go.
No,
It
listen.
was like a daily
It
chore
wasn't a
list.
list.
Yeah.
It was him being like, it was the way he was doing it and the way, because I think if the woman does the same thing and gives a list and is gentle about like, okay, whenever you get to it or if you can't do it. So I don't think the list is the issue. I think it's our attitude. You don't think?
I don't know. It was a list, and he just thought that the floor needed to be mopped, and he's gone. And so he wanted her to mop the floor.
And how she mopped it. Was
Right.
that
He
the
did
thing?
that. He did that verbally,
Yeah.
but he didn't say, "Here's how you mop it."
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gone."
Well, what if
Right.
they've agreed to that in their relationship?
Right.
Like
Then it's cool.
sometimes
Right.
I'll go to the store. My wife will send me to the store. And the 7 things she wanted me to get, I ended up getting 12, but only 3 of the things that she wanted.
Yes.
Right? For some
There's a lot of
reason,
great stuff.
I get to
Lot
the
of
store
Twinkies.
and there's like a mind eraser at the front door where they say everything your wife wanted you to get, we're gonna write from your
Oh,
head. So I tell her, just write me a list, send me a text, do something,
Yeah.
because I don't want to have to go back to the store. But if I gave my wife a clipboard in the morning, I would probably get whacked in the forehead with
Why?
it. And there's a lot of space up
Why?
there to hit.
Why?
Because it's controlling. To me, that's like, here's the way I want you to do it, and I want you to do it this way because it's my way, and that clipboard is coming at me. I better know how to duck.
So how can husbands and wives know the difference between a controlling honey-do list and a could you help me list?
To know the difference.
Yeah, like how do you, because I don't think it's a gender specific thing is the point I'm trying to make.
Mhm.
I think it's easily possible that a wife could leave a list for a husband, as socially acceptable as that is, that's demeaning and disrespectful.
So the advice that I had been given is if you want to know if you're a controlling person, with somebody else in the room, ask your spouse if you're a controlling person. And if they feel the freedom to tell you, you'll find out.
Yeah.
So, have you ever been a controlling person, Brian?
No.
I think
Maybe?
the
I don't know,
control.
that's Sarah.
the
She'd
con-
tell you.
The
Yes, Sarah.
control is if you give the list and says it needs to be done in this way and by this time.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, it's not a perfect answer, but to kind of give you an idea. That's the problem.
Because I
'Cause-
see I'm
yeah.
sorry, but the
Yeah, yeah.
honey-do list to me is always like when you get to it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And you could look at it as, if you really want to make me happy, here are ways you can make me happy.
Right.
I just find it interesting that those two things could be looked at differently.
Yeah.
There's
And
one
I'm
way
not
you
saying
could
it's
do
right
it,
or wrong,
Brian.
I'm just saying, like, if you left a list like that for Dana, I don't know if it would go over super well.
No.
Like, while I'm at work today, Dana, if you want to make me happy, here's what I'd like you to do.
Now it's both
Right,
ways.
you're laughing because I don't think Sarah would not like that.
No.
It's both ways. And so the encouragement, like for me with the women, and you can encourage the guys, I call Len every once in a while and say, what do you need me to do today? So he doesn't have to write a list. He knows we're trying to help each other.
Right.
Right? And so the other thing I wanted to say too, one thing that was enlightening for me, I told Len, like, oh, I got this because I don't give you a list. And he's like, actually, yes, you do. That's why I'm always doing stuff around the house. And I was like, what? I never tell you to fix stuff or do things. And he was like, whenever you say this bothers you or I wish this, he's like, it becomes a list in my mind because
Yep.
I want you to be happy. So it made me mindful, even little things like when we say out loud, oh, I wish I had more sweaters. For a man, the way he receives it is, I'm not buying her enough clothes.
I don't
or
make
I'm
enough
not providing.
money. Or, yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So just to be mindful of that as women, and we can sit around and be like, well, I didn't mean to. It doesn't matter. If he's receiving it that way, I don't want him to.
I don't buy my wife clothes.
You don't?
No, because if I buy the wrong size,
Oh,
I either
exactly.
get, is that the size you want me to be, or is that the size you think I am? I'm like, I don't know what the right answer is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just bought a sweater. What do you want me to do? I thought I would do something
Yeah, no,
nice.
don't get sweaters. Get gift certificates to department
yeah.
stores or something. Yeah.
Well, I don't get gift certificates either
What?
because that's impersonal.
So what do you do?
So
I make a lot of mistakes. I buy jewelry. Jewelry fits. I know somebody who, for Christmas, will hand his wife cash, and I think my wife would get mad at me if I did that.
Yeah.
I just can't do that. So yeah, jewelry is a one size fits all.
I know we gotta go, but I got an issue with that, just so you know. Because
What?
Len did that to me one
And it was
time.
wrong.
And I was like, can we return this? Because I'm not,
Cash?
it was a lot of money on earrings. I'm like, I'm not even into jewelry, and I want something else. I would
Wow.
hate to sit this amount of money. I know. And it actually turned into, like, it was not
Yeah,
good.
because he went to a store.
I know,
He thought
I know.
about you. He saved his money. He's like, I think Janelle would look
I
beautiful
know.
in this, and you
Don't
didn't
even
like
send me
it.
the messages. I know it was wrong. I'm just saying
Mm-hmm.
the conflict is, man, that I don't want him to spend so much money, and I didn't even want that. So I told him, we're not dating, Len. Like,
Welcome to
you don't
Father's
gotta
Day.
prove anything. You don't think?
That's how
Well,
I
Father's
would
Day was.
appreciate that.
thank you.
What?
That's a lot of money. Let me just be clear. This doesn't happen all the time. It was $400 on earrings. It was like diamond earrings. I
He
am not.
loves
If I
you.
love you and I care about our money, and I know I don't really want this, come on. I'm just gonna say nothing. Well,
Put
if
that
you
money
guys,
back in the bank.
hello, yeah, let's take half of it and buy me a computer.
So, well, but how did that go over when you said?
It was not good. And maybe it was the timing, but then if you're going to return something, you got to hurry up and say something. It was the timing, maybe it was the way I said it. I just think
So,
we got to
okay,
be
what did you do?
honest with each other.
What did you? So you open it up and you're like, I didn't want this.
No. Oh, I don't-
What did you do?
I don't remember.
Oh, that's convenient.
I know.
Maybe we should call Len. He probably remembers.
Actually, yeah.
Now, I've learned to be fair, I've learned the same thing over the years, that I better figure out what she wants, because it's just, I should not, she doesn't want me to spend that much money, number
Yeah.
one. Number two, she wouldn't wear that anyway, like we bought her bracelets. She doesn't wear bracelets. So you
And
gotta
that's
think
something
through
you
that
do
stuff.
in
but-
dating. Like, we're past that. You could be honest and say, babe, I don't really want this.
But, I mean, I don't know, what's the worst that happens? You put earrings in, and he likes how it looks on you.
Yeah. Maybe he thought she's gonna look so beautiful in these earrings.
And maybe it wasn't that amount. I just know it was like diamond earrings. It was a lot. It was
Mm-hmm.
too much if you don't want it. And we're husband and wife. That's bad. Wow, Brian, the way you're looking at me. You don't agree though? Aren't there things that are expensive that your wife would get for you that you'd be like, really? Like, wow, guys.
My wife is a pretty good gift buyer.
Yeah.
One of her love languages is gifts.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
Early on in our marriage, I wasn't quite grasping that, and I know it was really hard on her because I have to show up. I got to be prepared because it's just her love language, and it doesn't need to be expensive. It just needs to be something that I know that she would love, but she's really good at getting me gifts.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
when the time to show up with a gift is there, my wife is.
She delivers.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be expensive.
Yeah, that's
It just
good.
needs to be something that she knows that I would like. So
Maybe that's the lesson.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be expensive. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
but I'm not going to shy away from something that's.
I know. In
Look,
case she's watching.
she knows I deserve it.
Yeah.
She
there you
knows I'm a
go.
great husband,
That's right.
a great father, my ego is sharp and strong. And
There you
if there's
go.
no males in my house with a weak ego. And maybe that's a problem that I created, I don't know. But I do tell people that come over to my house, sometimes you have to check your ego at the door because we're gonna lay on the floor for you if you don't.
Wow. You can still comment below and let us know. I know I'm crazy. I know what I did. I mean, it didn't work. I was just being honest. But if there are other needs that you think we should add to complicated men and all of that,
You pointed over here. I'm trying to see who's. You pointed.
suggest
Right?
it below.
If all you got, Brian, was hand sanitizer, I think he would be happy.
Yeah.
What
Like a
else do I
lifetime
need?
supply.
What else do I need?
A lifetime supply. How much did you take to New York with you?
Oh, I had a bottle with me in my bag. I carried it around.
Everywhere.
Every time we got, the subway's so good. Every time I got off the subway. Every time I had to touch anything.
So when I fly now, I take these these wipes, and I wipe that seat down. And the last flight I was on, there was a lady from Pittsburgh next to me, and I said, "Do you mind if I wipe you down?" Isn't that what you're supposed to do to people from Pittsburgh? Maybe not, I don't know.
Before we go, we want to say hi to Annette, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Annette. Hi, Giselle. I love that name. Thank you for joining. Hi, Misty. You always join. And John, Tony, Margie, lots of comments.
I guess they just weren't showing up for us before.
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah, boom, there they are.
Well, anyway.
We'll catch up.